If it's Tuesday, even after a long weekend, it must be Cloud Talk Live. That's right. We're back for another episode here on a happy Tuesday, September 6th. Where did the summer go? We were just talking about that. Everyone, I want to welcome you to another episode of Cloud Talk Live, sponsored here by the Rackspace Solve program. It's our thought leadership program. But I would love to not just get to talk at you, but to talk with you and to you. So please introduce yourself. I would love to know who you are. I'd love to know where you are. So put your notes down in the comments wherever you happen to be watching. Now, we're off across about 4 or 5 different streams of technology here. So not everyone's going to see every comment because they're in different places, but we see them over there, actually. And Daniel will bring them up on the screen if you'll introduce yourself. And when you ask questions later, we will answer your questions. You make clever comments. We might even address those clever comments. But if you want to get a hold of us here at the Solve program, I'd love for you to send us an email at solve@rackspace.com. Now that will come to not only me, but also the entire production team that's here that helps make this happen. Producer Daniel will get it. He's sitting there in the background making things happen. Susan Price is here. Glad that you're here, Susan, in the Alamo City. And we have a great program set for you today. It is the first Tuesday of the month. And if it's the first Tuesday of the month, well, you know what that means. It means that it's Women in Tech Tuesday. So boy, do I have an amazing woman to get to introduce you to and talk about her achievements and what she's up to. So you've got that to look forward to here in just a few minutes. Well, Bob from the Mid-Atlantic, I'm glad you're here. We've got Karen Douglas from the D.C. area. Mid-Atlantic is representing today. That's awesome. Massachusetts, we've got, I assume it's Massachusetts. Rashmi is here. MA may stand for something else, but I'm going to go with Massachusetts in my focus. We've got somebody here from the United Arab Emirates, which is fantastic. India representing, guys. This is and of course, we've got the professor here. We're glad that Miguel is here from Mexico City. This is a global program that we do live every Tuesday morning, and I'm glad that you guys have taken the time to be here. Hong Kong is here. Holy moly, you're staying up late. Thank you so much for that. Well, let's progress on here and see what we have. London is here. Desiree, excuse me, I think I said that wrong. Folks, as I mentioned, this program is part of the Solve program here at Rackspace. Now, everything that we do can be found over at rackspace.com/solve. You know what else you can find there is the podcast. Now we have unique content that shows up there. We also have the audio from these programs as well. Hello, Corlina from Midland, Big Flat, West Texas. But if you want to get the audio from these, I'd love for you to subscribe to the podcast. It can be found anywhere that podcasts are found. Just look for Cloud Talk and look for that fancy little logo that we had created. All right, Maryland is here. Evan is here. Evan Ox is here. Evan, woohoo! Flashback. All right. Well, if you're so excited to get to meet Rachel, I'd love to introduce you to Rachel. Now, Rachel Hegedus is a very long time racker, and we're going to get to understand a little bit more about her career path here at Rackspace, and even before that, and the road that brought her here to us and what she's been able to accomplish. But enough of my introductions. Let's go ahead, Daniel, and bring Rachel up onto the stage. I know everyone is excited to get to meet her. Rachel, good morning.
Hi, good morning. Thank you for having me.
I am so glad that you are here. Did you see Evan is in the chat and he is here to see you?
I did. I'm so excited. Hi, Evan.
I told you we're a pretty relaxed group around here. So Rachel is where I have been all summer, and that is live in the Rackspace headquarters known as the Castle. I hadn't been home today, so I wasn't able to get into the office. And we were having a little construction going on, so I needed to be here. But Rachel, thank you so much for taking a little time out of your morning to spend with us. I was talking to your boss just a few weeks ago, and he said, we've got some new amazing women rackers who I think we should have on the program, and your name was at the top of that list. So welcome. Tell us again, who are you and what is your role at Rackspace?
Yeah, so I am the Director of Global Implementation. So I lead our global project managers. So all of the customers who come into Rackspace, either new to Rackspace or would like new infrastructure at Rackspace. My team of project managers help facilitate getting those customers the contracts into reality, building out the infrastructure, whether it be managed public clouds or our private cloud and other offerings.
So, when you hear somebody say they manage project managers, you may be excited about that. You may think, I don't even really know what that means, or, hey, project manager. But let's put this into context, folks. This is a global role of folks that she leads. And Rackspace, we're not here to sell Rackspace, but I want to put it into context, has 120,000 customers all around the globe. And the team that Rachel leads is the group of folks who bring on new workloads, whether, like you said, whether that's in private data centers or public clouds, all of that sort of thing. So it's an incredibly important role, awfully stressful. And one of the things we joke about a little bit at Rackspace, and Rachel, I'll ask you, how many times did the escalation come through going, hey, just this once, can you put us to the front of the line and let this go out faster or sooner than something else?
All the time, yes.
All the time. So you're the lady who gets to prioritize, you and your team to get to prioritize all that stuff.
Yes, we do.
Well, now your career at Rackspace did not start in such a lofty position. And this is one of the things that I love to, hey, Brian Zender's here. That I love to call it, especially in these episodes, is to rewind back a little bit and understand, the beginnings of where these high tech women executives come from. So, what was that executive leadership role that was your first role when you came to Rackspace?
I was in sales, install-based sales. So for our SMB, I guess, organization at the time.
Yeah, so folks, so many current leaders inside of Rackspace came in some of the, I'll call them the lowest of the lower positions. I think of, Josh Pruitt, who's our chief product officer, came in literally as like chat at guy number 7. I forget, I think was his number. So if you were to type in a chat bubble, you had a 1 in 7 chance of talking to Josh. You don't get much lower in the totem pole. You have Travis Runty's on here all the time. He was the guy who literally took tickets that would get put into the queue and traffic direct them before we had a way to do that automatically in ways that through artificial intelligence. And now he's CTO of something of our operations stuff here. So Rachel, tell me about that career. What was it? First of all, what was it about Rackspace that attracted you in?
Well, my degree is actually in business administration, and I studied in management information systems. So it was actually a good fit. We had talked previously. My role actually prior to Rackspace was in commercial real estate. When I moved to San Antonio, I actually had an opportunity by way of multiple friends that we had that worked at Rackspace, who helped open the door for me and got me in here at Rackspace. So I felt like it was a good pair based off of my my college experience, my college background, and I had a bunch of friends that worked here who promoted Rackspace. So I felt like I was in a win-win situation. So that's what led me to Rackspace. As many of us, I think we all know somebody helps open the door and get a foot into the door at Rackspace.
Yeah, it's how I got here as well. Lacey's here. Always love to call out Lacey. If you guys didn't see her episode, it was from the spring. Love to go back and check that one. And let's see. So what else is going on? So Rachel, when you got to a point of having as a BDC, as an inside sales rep for install base, what was it really that point when you had the opportunity to move into management?
Yeah, so at one point in my career when I was in sales, I decided I wanted to go into leadership. And so in order to make where I saw myself in leadership was in the account management space. So I decided to change gears and I sought out roles in the account management area. And once I did that, I just made sure I sought out leaders that I looked up to that were my mentors that I knew could help lead me the way into leadership. And from there, I started to progress my career through the account management organization. And that's essentially where I started my leadership career.
That's great. So a lot of people get into leadership, and you have certain expectations of what it's going to be like. You read about it, you see it on TV, you see it in the movies. You be the manager, be the big boss. Maybe think about for a second. What was one of the things that was true about your expectations, and maybe something else that you hadn't expected that once you moved into leadership?
For me, one thing that was true about leadership is that it really is a team effort, right? So
Yeah,
there's a difference between being a manager and being a leader. And when you are in a leadership position, um, it's not about managing your wreckers. It's about leading, and so it feels like a team effort, right? So I felt like when I was leading, I was just another member of the team.
yeah.
And I had really good rockers with me. I've had rockers that have been with me for 10 years under my leadership, who just followed me throughout my leadership career. They've kind of followed me through rack space. Um, One of the things not true, um, I would say leadership sometimes can be a lonely spot,
Yeah.
but at the same time, it's really not. I mean, you kind of open the door, you have a whole another network, right? So now you have your leaders, that are also your new team members. So you have multiple teams that you can lean on, and you have to just make sure you have really good mentors that you can lean on, to seek out advice when you need to.
That's amazing, and it says so much about your own leadership style that you have rackers who have followed you around inside of your experience inside of Rackspace for the past 10 years or so. That's really impressive. And I love the fact that you call out leadership as a team. A team sport. It's a thing that everybody's working on together. There is no us and them when it's being done right, when it is operating efficiently, because granted, the activities tend to be a little bit different, but you're all working towards that same goal. You're all doing the work to achieve the thing, whatever that job is at the time, which
Right.
is so amazing. So, and I love the fact that you're also calling it not managing. You're calling it leadership, which is really what it is. And leadership is one of those things that is evident whether you have the title or not. And clearly, we saw those capabilities in you. Now your current title is director, but of course, you go into being a manager at Rackspace, and there's senior manager, and I don't know if there's other delineations, I forget. But eventually, you get to a point where, hey, Mary Stitch is here. It's always good to see Mary Stitch in here. Um, but you move to a point of being a director, but move from being a leader of individuals to a leader of other leaders. When you made that step, what was it's always an exciting time when you move to that, but it's new muscles you have to flex, because it's not you dealing directly with individuals who have problems or challenges or opportunities to work with, but you're coaching at this point. It moves you to that coach role. What was that like for you as you made that shift?
Again, it's about having good mentors, right? So as we grow, and learn, we should always be seeking out opportunities to challenge ourselves and to, expand and learn and grow ourselves, as we move along through our own careers. And sometimes that means, seeking out, other mentors who may have more experience in that space. And so in that aspect, it's very important. And I think over time, when you are helping to mentor and coach other leaders, you can sometimes lean on your own experience,
Yeah,
coming through. For me personally, I kind of came through the ranks. And so I can speak and lean a lot on my own personal experiences. And maybe I don't have a situation specifically that I could speak to in coaching, but I could say, well, this is how I would have done it if I were in that position.
right.
Or maybe this is something that worked for me, may not work for you, but it's just, open dialogue and communication. And yeah.
Yeah, so I love your call out on mentorship. At what point in your career at Rackspace did you realize, hey, there are folks who have done this before, and I can absolutely learn from them? And so, because we're gonna deal with this also of how did you go find some, and then how did you target some folks that you wanted to mentor?
Well, I had some very good leaders here at Rackspace. So, some of you guys may know some of these old school
Mhm.
rockers like Liz Maya, Javad. Olu. I mean, there's just so many good leaders that were here that I had who had set the bar and example that I could lean on.
Yeah.
And so I really like sought those leaders out that I wanted to emulate. Additionally, there's lots of organizations here within Rackspace, like Power, that I sought out. And I made a conscious decision that I was going to start building out my own personal network. And so I joined Power. I joined the mentor programs through Power multiple times. And so I got to meet and really build my network out through that organization here at Rackspace.
You're bringing up some great names from the past. I haven't heard about Olu in so many years. What a great individual. Liz gets called out all the time, and her impact on the company is legend. And we do have, hey, and I was about to talk about Mary, and here you bring her up. Very good, Daniel. Mary Stitch was a longtime racker, and I had the opportunity to work with her, and her impact as well was huge. The amount of folks that she interfaced with, and her impact on the Power Group. Here at Rackspace, we have the Racker resource groups, we call them, but bringing people together to be able to learn from one another and grow. The Powers a group for empowering women here at Rackspace in. Mary was huge with that. Another question for you is now you're in that position as a director. I mean, you're who so many people are looking up to these days. How do you, when somebody approaches you, or how do you spot folks who you want to reach out to and tap on the shoulder and say, if I can be of assistance, I'd love to be that person to you. So how do you now share and give back to those folks now that you're in that Olu type of a position?
Well, when I do see rackers who I feel like are great, leaders and leadership potential, it's if I see open opportunities, I may reach out to them and say, "Hey, have you heard about this position at Rackspace? I think you would be great. You should apply for it." I've done that many of times. I actually have a lot of rackers who used to report into me who are now leaders here at Rackspace, both women and men. And so I do try to encourage, rackers when I do see that special spark where I feel like they will be a really great leader, and I try to encourage them to apply for those roles. Even if it's going for the interview and understanding and learning what that process is like, um, you know, go out there, put yourself out there, go reach out to other leaders, find out what it is that how do they get to their positions, what is it that they look for in good leaders, and
Yeah.
trying to achieve and reach you know those aspects of what a good leader is here at Rackspace.
What's really ringing true to me right now as I hear this is the fact, and Mary's talking about it a little bit. At Rackspace, everyone, if you're not one of the hundreds of rackers who are hanging out with us here, to opportunity to talk to Rachel, but you should be working in an organization. You should strive to work in an organization where what Rachel was just mentioning is the norm. And that's a place where you have leaders who recognize your potential, whether you're in their reporting structure or not, and will come and tap you on the shoulder and say, have you considered this other role? You should feel comfortable in going to leaders, even senior leaders in the organization, and tapping them on the shoulder and saying, would you mind if we just met for 30 minutes? Even 15 minutes at some point in the next couple of months at your leisure. Don't put any pressure on them. Just and if the individual isn't willing to help, isn't willing to take the time, maybe you should think about another organization. There's a lot that is, there's no perfect organization, but there's a lot that worked really well at Rackspace over the years. And what Rachel's talking about and personifies is just that. And then it's a group of folks who are willing to help you succeed, willing and wanting for you to succeed. So Rachel, as we come here a bit to the close of our time, one of the questions I ask a lot to especially to our women in tech folks who come and be a part of the program, obviously, as you were, a young, 10 or 12-year-old Rachel thinking, hey, high tech, that's my career. That's what I want to do. What I want to do now is I get so many comments from folks that say, hey, I want to show this to my 10 or 12 or 15-year-old daughter that really it really is possible for them. What advice would you have either for young Rachel or for, even this afternoon as somebody goes home to their daughter? What advice would you have for them as they're, starting to think about a career? How would they get to where you are or even progress in their career?
I will tell you that sports had a very big impact in
Mm.
my life. I played sports from when I was 7 all the way through college. And there are life lessons to be learned in sports. You learn how to be a good winner. You learn how to be a good loser. You learn how to, cheer on your teammates when they hit a home run, giving them high five, even after you've just struck out. So you really, really learn a whole lot of life lessons. So I encourage um, kids to get out there, play sports. It helps build confidence. You learn a lot of great life lessons, and I feel like it will set you up for you know being a good employee at any company and as a team player, and confidence and in being a leader.
Rachel, in all the time we've been doing these Women in Tech episodes and the amount of times I've asked that question, you're the first person to call out the benefits in the of sports. And I love the comment. It teaches you to be a good winner, teaches you to be a good loser, because you don't win every single day, which is
That's right.
unfortunate. And as you to harken back to the beginning of our conversation, it's a team sport in your office. It's not just you. It's you and your
That's
whole
right.
group. Well, Rachel, thank you so much for taking the time to be on the program today. You have a wealth of fans who have shown up to support you, and it is wonderful to have had you here today. So, I hope you have a great rest of your day, and let's go get some new customers online.
Yes. Awesome. Thank you for having me.
Absolutely. Everyone, wasn't that incredible? These conversations, as much as you can plan for them, always end up going in a different direction. There's always some nugget that we learn. Wasn't that great advice about what sports can teach us? And you know what? I think as adults, maybe that's a little something we could learn as well for our professional lives. Let's get out and learn how to win. Let's go out and learn how to lose well. Now let's limit the losing. Let's emphasize on the winning. But it is part of life, so we have to account for that. So such a blessing to have her on today. What a great conversation. Well, folks, if you want to hear more conversations like that, if you want to learn more about what's happening inside of tech in an area that is safe where you're not going to be sold to, well, that is the website to go to, rackspace.com/solve. Now, just a little bit of background on Solve. Solve is our thought leadership program here at Rackspace, and it's our thought leadership program here at Rackspace. It's a place where we don't sell to you. We just have a bunch of free, great information for you. Now, the podcast can be found there. You can listen to individual episodes. You can subscribe to the podcast anywhere you can find those things. Now, a lot of the content that's been created there has been curated through, well, in the past, a smaller group inside of our office of the CTO, which has absolutely exploded. Guys, we are growing like gangbusters over here. And we have some amazing new talent who have joined the organization, either from externally or from other parts of the company, and they are starting to create some incredible content. So you're going to want to start to make it part of your week. Maybe a little alert mid-morning on a Monday. Set an alert for 10:30. Get a fresh cup of coffee and go read what's new over at Solve. I'd love for you to go check that out. Well, that takes us through our cloud discussion, and it brings us up to our section where we talk about what is new in cloud. In this section, folks, it's all about what are some of the news articles that are going on out there where cloud is in there, and why is it important to you. And our first article today that I found is this one right here. And it says, why establishing and regulated industries are shifting to cloud services. Now, this is a great one over from VentureBeat. You can find it over on their website. But the heart and the moral of this story, folks, is the fact that all industries are moving into the cloud, whether that is all in on the hyperscale cloud, whether that is a modern private cloud, they are absolutely moving in. Even some of these industries where they have been more cautious to make a move out into the cloud. Think about healthcare, think about financial services. I said this so many times, but there's such an instigator to huge amounts of digital transformation was what happened through us to us through the whole COVID experience. So much content either got put out willy-nilly into the cloud that now we're modernizing and getting great data from, or, hey, Bangalore's here, or you have environments where we had private clouds and people just literally couldn't get into data centers. So this is a great article. It talks about why these regulated industries are moving out more and more. You're going to see a focus from Rackspace, even over, especially in the thought leadership area, around what's happening in healthcare. In fact, I've got an amazing racker who's going to be on later in September talking about regulated industries. All right. Also in the news, I always like a little cybersecurity. For your Tuesday morning, feels like a Monday morning. I was off yesterday. Is a new article that from Security Weekly that talks. It's an inside look at Hive's ransomware as a service tactics. Now, if you're not familiar with Hive, we're not talking about it in the context of the abstract, but the specific in the group over in Russia. Known as Hive, that is ransomware for hire. These are some really resourceful individuals. Unfortunately, they are resourceful individuals. They're doing some really scary work, and it calls out the need for, well, not a lot of fancy stuff inside of your stuff. Just patch. Will you please patch your servers? Will you please patch your devices? So much. We don't click on anything. Do me a favor. Don't click on anything, because Hive is out there and they're trying to get into your personal data. They're trying to get into your organization and hold it ransom. They've done stuff like midstream. They went and rewrote their entire suite of software. Yes, it's a suite of software, so that it would be harder for people to crack. They also went out. They have a whole sales department now, like a corporation would do. Folks, these people take it seriously. It is an industry to them, and you have to be careful. Support your CISOs, your chief information security officers inside of your organizations, and patch your devices. Ooh, all right. So that's what's going on in the news, which takes us, come on, little clickers, let's work. There we go. All right. So we're through that. That takes us up to, I told you, into the what's new from the cloud providers. So we will go through the three that we call out each week, and it starts with Amazon. Amazon Connect launches an API to search for queues by name, description, and tag. So if you're not familiar with Amazon Connect, it is their call center capability. Now they have expanded their API capability to be able to search through all your queues by name, description, tags, really anything. And that is to ensure you're having a great customer experience by utilizing Amazon Connect. So check that out if you're an Amazon person. If you're an Azure person, here's what's new from them. General availability, new Azure virtual machines with Ampere Ultra ARM based processors. Folks, there's a whole host of them that are in there. So if you're into need these types of capabilities that they have, well, Azure is there for you. They have a whole host of new virtual machines that are available for you. Also from Google Cloud. Uh-oh. Hang on a second, folks. I think I have what's going out. All my screens have gone blank. Hopefully we're still online. But I'll tell you what's happening over at messes up. We're just going to push a few buttons and see if I can get you guys back on. All right. Can you see, Daniel? Okay, awesome. All right, I'm going to just tell you what's going on over. We're just going to talk about this for a second. I don't know what the screens are doing. But over at GCP, their secret manager, of course, that's for managing all sorts of passwords and things like that, now supports using annotations to define custom metadata about the secrets. So that makes it so much easier to be able to manage those secrets and do it across all sorts of different types of secrets. So that's what's going on over there. Now, I always tell you there's a job of the day, and today's Rackspace job of the day is inside of our what's called Elastic Engineering team. Now, at Elastic Engineering at Rackspace, it's a small pod of individuals who are helping you not just manage infrastructure in and out of the cloud, but also help you improve it on a moment-by-moment basis. Now, the person who drives that work forward across those 9 individuals at Elastic Engineering is called an engagement manager. We're looking for engagement managers. So if you go over to rackspace.jobs, and Daniel will post that in the link. Not that you can't remember rackspace.jobs, you'll be able to find more about the engagement manager. Now, the engagement manager does a ton of things. They help align business objectives and coordinate service deliveries, ensuring that our customers maximize the value that they're seeking in their cloud investment. They do so many other things. So you're going to want to check that out. If you are looking for a job, go over to rackspace.jobs. It's the only thing I sell here, and that's coming and hanging out with us over here at Rackspace. I'm going to push this button and see if, no, it does not. All right, we won't worry about overlays for the moment. Well, folks, it wouldn't be a great episode if I didn't thank our sponsor over at App Dynamics. If your company is running any sort of applications that you're writing, well, utilize App Dynamics. Go check them out for full stack observability, all the way from your end users, maybe even on their mobile device, all the way through the network, all the way back to the back-end databases, not just for your system administrators, not just for your application administrators, but for your business folks who are trying to coordinate the performance of their application to the KPIs that they're being held accountable for. So head over to appdynamics.com to learn more about that. Well, folks, next week we are taking a deep dive into the cloud. I had a slide for you, but you're not going to get to see it today. And it has to do with all things the cloud trenches and what's going on in cloud today from the actual practitioners who are doing that work. So join us next Tuesday at 8:30 a.m. Central Time, and we'll be here. So for that, folks, that's going to bring us to the end of Cloud Talk, and we're back next week at 8:30 a.m. Central.